Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today. Hope your week's off to a good start. If you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then join me back in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, beginning in verse 16, where we'll be continuing looking at the armor of the believer. In verse 16, after naming the first three pieces, Paul says, in all circumstances, in every situation, above all, he says in the King James, in all situations, no matter what, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil one. Let's talk about really two things in this passage that we need to understand. One of them is that shield of faith, exactly what he means by that. And then what are the flaming darts of the evil one? Well, for one, the shield of faith may not be exactly perhaps what you may have know exactly what it is, but it is many times you'll see soldiers with a small little shield in front of them that they can move around and kind of with on their arm and avoid contact with a sword or whatever weapon the enemy may have. This shield of faith that he's talking about was a larger, almost as tall as the soldier, large shield that he could actually completely get behind and completely be covered by that. It was a long shield. It protected his whole body from these fiery darts that he's talking about. So it's a large shield, and then the fiery darts. They were what we, as I thought about them, the phrase I came up with was ancient hand grenades. They were darts, arrows that would be dipped in tar and then lit on fire and shot, or I guess in the right situations, even thrown at the enemy. And that would cause then, whatever they were to be, whatever they hit to be caught on fire. Little hand grenades. And so those are the two things that he describes here, which again, for the person in that day would have been very familiar with. But let's talk for a minute about the fiery darts. The fiery darts of Satan. What are they? As I think about them, I think about, again, these would have been small little weapons that could have been thrown. And, Satan is one who he uses a lot of these fiery darts. He doesn't drop the great big nuclear bomb on us, but he just constantly bombards with little things, little doubts, just like he did with Eve in the garden. Did God really say that? Is that really what he meant? Are you really saved? Does God really love you? Are you really a Sunday school teacher? Are you really the best person in this church to do that job? Did God really save you? Does God really love you? Those kind of things. He just tosses those little nagging questions out. Much like those little fiery darts that you shoot that little fiery dart and it may land innocently. Again, the soldier may be able to put up his shield. It may just stick to that big shield. It would and bounce off and cause no damage. On the other hand, that little dart may land on something very combustible and start a huge fire. It may actually hit the soldier and cause major problems. And so what started out as just a little small fiery dart has the potential to become a huge wildfire. And Satan is a master of those little questions, those little nagging things, little nagging behaviors. He knows maybe that we have a problem with greed, and so he puts little things in front of us to tempt us. He knows that we have maybe a problem with lust, and so he puts someone in front of us, around us that is a temptation. And for that, Paul says, then we need the shield of faith. Again, this shield was one, again, not a little small metal shield just on his arm, but a shield that he could completely get in behind and cover up and protect himself from those fiery darts. And that's what our faith is, that we get a complete, total faith. We put our trust in him. We rest in him. And then as those little darts, those little thought darts, try to penetrate, we can get behind that faith, put our confidence in him, and take up that faith and that shield. And when he tries to cause us to question our salvation, to question our relationship with the Lord, question whether we deserve a relationship with the Lord, we get in that faith. We just kind of wrap ourselves in that faith, in the awareness of the presence of God, the fullness of the presence of God. And just as that soldier would get behind that shield and let that shield take care of those fiery darts that were being fired at him, we let our faith, our confidence in God, we let God take care of those darts. And so we stand, he says, and in all circumstances have that shield. We never know for sure when Satan's going to come along and throw one of those darts, launch one of those fiery darts at us. So we need to constantly be sure that we're resting and putting our confidence, not in our own strength and our own well-being and our own wealth or fame or knowledge, but that we're resting in what Jesus Christ did at Calvary, and that he provided our salvation. So today, remember that as you go out. If Satan tries to attack, you duck down behind that shield of faith, and in all circumstances, have it with you and use that shield. You think about it. Don't forget it. Have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.